All right, Leslie, we are officially live. At least I think we are. So we're ready to get
Yeah.
started here. Thanks for everybody who's joining us today. You have joined almost everything you missed at the Campus ESP Customer Summit in 30 minutes. We're going to get through everything in 30 minutes. With me here today is Leslie Gale, Dr. Leslie Gale. Leslie, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. Hi, everyone. As Dave mentioned, I'm Leslie. I'm our Vice President of Customer Success and Account Management here at Campus ESP, which basically means my team handles all things customer related from the very beginning of your customer journey here. And I have a background in higher ed where I previously worked at the University of Missouri in parent programs and got my PhD a little bit after leaving there in higher ed. So excited to share with you all kind of what some of our biggest takeaways were this year.
Awesome. Thanks, Leslie. And my name again is Dave Becker. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Campus ESP, and we're going to jump right into it. So first off, logistics, pretty obvious stuff. You're on mute. Some of you are already using the chat feature. Please go ahead and use the chat feature. We'll try to answer any questions that we see there. And also there will be some polls. I think there'll be a poll toward the end of this. We're going to send you the recording and the slide deck. So sit back, relax, not too much. I know some of you have just had lunch. So hopefully we keep you entertained here with all the great content that we're about to share. If you've never heard of Campus ESP before, this is the only slide that we will show about Campus ESP. We work with over 450 colleges and universities in the United States, and we help them engage over 5 million families every year. So if you're looking to engage with parents and families and supporters, look us up online, campusesp.com, which you must have gone to register for this webinar. So probably you'll find.
They're ahead of the game.
Yeah, exactly. So first off, these are all takeaways that we had from our Campus ESP Customer Summit. So Leslie, let me throw it over to you because you really are the person who organizes the Campus ESP Customer Summit. Do you want to just give us like a high-level view of what that is?
Yeah, absolutely. So for those who haven't been before or maybe unfamiliar, the summit is basically our annual event where we bring together all of our customers and it's open to other guests as well for them to share best practices across all different parts of parent engagement, and we also cover exciting things that are happening kind of in technology as well. And it's always just a wonderful time to really help all of our customers, no matter what kind of part of the student life cycle their focus is, share what they're learning and seeing in their platforms and in what they're doing just generally with parent engagement, and for the attendees to learn from them.
Yeah. So really a lot of it's a lot of cool conversations there, a lot of best practices, as you mentioned, Leslie. And I think what's exciting for us is we did the first one of these back in 2019 in Portland, Oregon, back when we had 50 customers in 2019. And today we have around 500 customers, and we had 135 attendees at this year's summit. So really exciting for us. And you have some pictures here you can check out if you're interested in attending next year. We'll have some more information about that in a moment. But again, 135 customers, 80 partners, and 18 sessions. So we're going to summarize the top 4 takeaways. It's going to be rapid fire. Leslie are going to do our best to give you this information as quickly as possible. And the first point that we definitely saw at this year's summit is that family engagement is no longer a one-person job. This is something that we've seen developing over the last couple of years, where parent-family programs used to be an office that was kind of like off to a corner, usually in student affairs, sometimes in enrollment. It's grown beyond that. And we've seen that with some of the data that we've released, that just families expect more. 77% of families expect college communication weekly. This is up 7% compared to last year. And then we've also seen, and I'm sure you're seeing this as well, that satisfaction with tuition as a worthwhile investment has been dropping. And actually with this survey, it showed that it dropped 18%. So if you are interested in getting more of the details from the family survey, you go on our website. I think a little pop-up will appear there, and you can download the report for free if you're interested. But the big takeaway is that parents aren't just stakeholders, they're partners, they're very involved. I personally feel like, as a parent of twins who are rising sophomores, You really get pulled into this stuff. A lot of it's from the cost of education, but it's also that you are just trained in K-12 that family involvement is important from a student success perspective. And so at this year's summit, we saw something really interesting, which is we saw that people attended from all different departments. And I'm sure we would see the same thing if we looked at the attendance of today's webinar, which is about 30% usually from admissions and enrollment, student affairs, about a quarter of folks. We do have parent family programs, another quarter. You can see it's really across the university. So it isn't just one department anymore. One of the presentations that we had at this year's summit, Leslie, I'm going to throw it over to you, was Flagler College, and they kind of built off of this theme. So do you mind taking us through what they presented?
Yeah, no. So obviously this was a theme at a lot of sessions, which was how are they really working across campus to deliver the best experience for families. So yeah, as Dave mentioned at Flagler, they are actually running their platform and their parent family communication strategy through their marketing and communication department. And so the leadership there has done a really great job of partnering with admissions, with advancement, and then with all of those offices who also just have information that parents need, like housing, financial aid, to really create roles that are kind of responsible for connecting, which I just think is really cool. I think that is a newer approach than what we've seen in the past, which they're really having these cross-departmental roles and coming up with a strategy that really makes it so that no one's just going, wait, whose job is it to send that to parents? Now everyone has like a clear plan and make sure that the content gets delivered at the right time, no matter what department on campus the information is coming from, which is always hard, breaking down those silos. So I thought that was really impressive. And then we have one more example too, that I thought was worth sharing, which was from Towson University. So Towson has kind of a more traditional family programs office, but it's a very small office. I think it's one full-time person and then a couple people who sit in that unit. But what they really wanted to do was come up with a campus partner program. And so their family programs person shared how she really developed this content partner program where she looked at the data that they were hearing in terms of questions they were getting from parents, and then sought out those offices like housing, auxiliary services, et cetera, to say, hey, parents want information from you. Can we come up with a plan for sending me more information more regularly? So yeah, it's in its like second year now, and excited to see how it grows, because these were her first 4 official partners, but I'm sure that this is going to be something that grows more at Towson.
Yeah, and these were the actual slides that the customer shared at the summit, or one of the, we're not going to share all the slides, but
yeah,
I like this slide because it really looks at, if you're building out your parent family engagement program, who are your potential partners, right? Like is housing, Leslie, is housing like almost always a partner? I just would think that they have a lot of information that you can get out to parents.
Yeah, typically, I mean, certainly, hopefully, because yes, that is one of the areas that, especially for incoming families, I mean, it's just the most questions you get are about the rooms, the beds, the furniture, what the process is. And so, yeah, making sure to get information from them is critical. So glad to see more of our partners developing that partnership.
All right. Thank you. Our second point, our biggest takeaway here was personalization isn't just nice, it's necessary. And this has definitely been a theme that we've been saying at CampusESP for a while. And I think in the past, people are like, well, how much personalization, how much tailoring of content is enough, and is it too much in certain cases? And I don't think it's ever too much. I think parents want information that they need when they need it. One of the research reports that we released recently with RNL, we asked the question pretty much in this report every single year, which is like, what's the value of experiences as it relates to prospective families? So families that are supporting their student as they're looking at the different options that they have for college. And this one always surprises me, which is on number 3 on the list is the quality of the school's communication with parents and families. 94% said that was important. And that's compared to 96% of families saying that the on-campus visit, which we all know is the most important thing. So that parent engagement is really important. What you do with it, how you engage with them, can make a big difference from a yield perspective and an enrollment perspective. Another report that we have on our website, which I highly recommend you check out if you are on the enrollment or admission side, which is each year we look at a case study of enrollment yield results for a group of schools. We try to mix them up every single year, but it all is pretty much the same thing, which is that when you are engaging parents, those students of those parents who you're engaging, specifically in this case with CampusESP, show higher yield rates. And it just makes sense. We like calling it nudging the nudgers. Parents are the ultimate nudgers. If you're getting information to the parents about how to visit, how to send them the deposit, how to get information that they need, they will nudge their students along. So talking more about those trends, specifically at the summit, Leslie, I thought Montclair's presentation and some of the focus that they made around getting parents to register was really interesting. But real quick, can you explain what registration means for the audience that we have here? Because I think it's a little bit unique to the CampusESP platform.
Yes, no, absolutely, I will. I want to back it up a little bit though, because I think when you talk about personalization, most people understand and like they say, yeah, we want to do that. But the question is always how. And that's what Montclair really took the time at the summit to go into, is how they were able to better personalize their communication. So one of the big things that they really tried to get more and more families to do is what we call registering their account, which is simply setting a password in CampusESP. But in addition to setting the password, when they go through that process, we also have a simple form that they are asked to fill out, that each school configures and asks what questions they want to ask on that. And so Montclair really did a lot of extra things in their platform to encourage families to go through that process of setting that password and sharing their preferences, sharing a little bit more about themselves, which is really cool. And so this slide in particular talks about how they got more people to do that, which was to add a checklist into the platform that required that step to be taken. So that was really cool. They saw a great increase there. And then if you go to the next slide, you'll see some of that information that they collected through that process. So for Montclair, some of the information that they obviously wanted to collect were things like what year the student was, if the family themselves was Spanish speaking, if they had an interest in housing and residence life, and if the student was a commuter student, because they have different messaging depending on the answers to that question. They also were able to...
So what this is showing too, this is showing the number of users that have raised their hand, the number of parents that have said, okay, yeah, I would like information on housing and res life. I'm a parent of first kids. This is like the chart. So
exactly
what Montclair showed here is that they were intentional about gathering this information, and you could kind of see the trend upward in that data collection, right?
Exactly. Yep. So basically, once they started doing that extra push for registering that account, they started getting a lot more and better information on those families, because each of these charts is actually also tied to a community, which in CampusESP is how we tag different information and messaging. So if you go to the next slide, then that shows kind of one of the examples that Montclair really used, that community targeting, to make sure they were sending, an important message to the people that they most wanted to see it. So they wanted, parents of current students who hadn't registered yet for housing to get some reminders about signing up for campus housing. And this was really effective for them as well. As you can see, they had a really good open rate here and click rate as well. This is just one example. They shared a lot of examples, so we had to pick and choose some good ones. But there's lots of examples kind of throughout that student life cycle that, if you have better information on what their plans are, you can really, get them more specific information, which I think is often what parents mean when they say like quality communication. They want to see the information that's relevant to them. A parent of a commuter student doesn't want to see this email. They want to see, different message.
So if somebody was already enrolled, I guess, so if they're not in housing, then the parent wouldn't see them.
Mhm.
So it's all about
Right.
personalizing the content exactly that they say.
Yeah, yes, that was the goal for this message for sure.
Okay, cool. Very cool. Another takeaway that we had, I bet you've never heard of AI before, is AI is the superpower that you need. I think there's lots of different ways that people are looking at AI. This picture is a picture of our CTO and my co-founder, James Bright. That's the JB plus AI forever. He gave a great presentation. We're going to talk a bit about that here in a moment. But one of the data points we like always pointing out is this 93% of higher ed staff expect to expand their AI use for work over the next 2 years. So it's coming. And I'm sure most of you or many of you already use AI, and it's having a dramatic impact. We released some AI tools about a year ago, and they have been the most adopted feature I think that we've ever rolled out. 3/4 of our customers use AI tools. You can see here, they've used it over 12,000 times, and it is just amazing. Like, I've been in education technology for 30 years, from the internet to mobile. I think AI, I don't think I've ever seen anything grow as quickly as AI has. And so James's presentation that he took people through was just trying to like demystify some of the AI, and that there's different types of AI. Like, AI is like just a broad container for lots of different technologies, from different modeling techniques to large language models. The LLMs is probably what a lot of us know, Claude and ChatGPT. And so he kind of took us through that, and then how we use it at CampusESP, just so that folks at the summit understood how you can apply technology. In this case, we're actually launching a feature where parents can have discussion boards with other parents. Lots of value in that, especially if you can kind of segment families so that first-year families can communicate with other first-year families. But you always have the concern around moderation. So part of our moderation strategy is using AI to moderate that content. Without getting into the details of it, it just helps provide scale, and does a really effective job. Other ways that we're using AI, that you might be using AI, AI-powered content. We embed kind of ChatGPT-like features into CampusESP. AI content personalizer, which is just, you might have great student comms, but you want to personalize it to what the parent would get, so you can use AI there. And then the third piece is, we actually have a button where you can change a post that you're sending out to parents, and take kind of the long form and shorten it down to a text message, which if you ever tried to shorten something down to a text message length, it's difficult. So we actually embed the AI specifically into CampusESP. And talking about AI was a really big theme this year at the CampusESP Summit. So Leslie, University of Montana is the one that you wanted to highlight here. Can you take us through this slide and some of the big takeaways that you had here?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, as Dave mentioned, there's a handful of folks that talked about how they used AI. Montana, I thought, was interesting because while they definitely talked about using our AI tools, they also talked about using AI to evaluate all of their communication. So they did a download of all of their data from CampusESP, all their content and click data and things like that, and used AI separately to evaluate where the gaps were, which I thought was really cool, and just a really great way to make sure that there's no big thing that you're missing in terms of your parent communication strategy. And then, yeah, like I mentioned it, then they also use our AI tools to help fill those gaps as well. So that was really cool. And then another example that I wanted to highlight was Salem State. So Salem State actually talked about using all of the different AI tools to just generally enhance all of their content. And one of the really cool things, though, about it is that they're also seeing really high engagement from that AI-driven communication strategy. So this example from their slide deck is where they use the AI text tool that Dave mentioned to create a text message about their webinar on scholarships, and had over 15% unique click rate on that, and got literal increase in registrations from just sending that one text. And you can see they also have this text in Spanish, which I think is awesome because, as we know, translation can be really difficult, but that's something that our AI tool helps do. That's one of the things that for years we would get questions about translation, and it's always like, yeah, like we really support that. It's really important. And now we literally give you a button to click to translate and into a lot of different languages, but obviously with the growing number of HSIs that we serve, Spanish is the most popular that we see used.
Listen, I know the answer to this, but let me tee you up here and kind of tee you up on this. But part of the service that we provide at CampusESP is actually pushing content into portals, and it is now a combination of human-created content and AI-created content.
Yeah.
What are we seeing as far as what gets the highest level of engagement across the entire 450 customers that we work with?
Yeah. As you can probably guess from Dave teeing me up, the answer is that the AI created content gets higher engagement from families. So that is clicks on the content. That's also comments on the content. Really cool to see that we're able to use AI to create content that's just super valuable and engaging for families.
Yeah, and I think whether you do it with CampusESP or outside of CampusESP, that if you haven't messed around or experimented with creating a GPT or doing something with AI, need to do that. I just think it's becoming like kind of table stakes here.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's keep on going. This is the fourth takeaway, which I'm pretty passionate about, which is parent giving is untapped potential here. And we have a couple data points that I like pointing out, because when I created CampusESP 10 years ago, this was always one of the data points that blew me away. One of the other data points was what percentage of parents have their students' IDs and passwords. This was the other one, which is the feeling of connectedness with the student's institution from the parent level. Are they more connected with the student's institution or more connected with the alma mater of where they graduated, or were they in the middle? And this is pretty similar to what I surveyed 10 years ago, which is this 1/3, 1/3, 1/3, which, when you take it a step further and you can ask them likelihood of donating to their student's institution, 22% of families just flat out raise their hand and say, yes, that is likely. 30% to their alma mater, but then there's the 48% here. 48% are neutral, and those are the ones that you can fight for. I will not reveal where I went to college, but I will say that if I have twins in college, if my twins' schools reached out to me and my alma mater, I would probably have a higher likelihood of donating to where my kids are going right now. I have the greater connection to them, and that was always one of the biggest surprises that I had when we first launched CampusESP, but also as a parent. These parents are really, really connected into your institution, your brand, your mission. And so we have a couple schools that we always like pointing to here because the results are just phenomenal. One of them is University of Oregon. Leslie, can you explain a little bit of what they shared at the summit this year?
Yeah, absolutely. So yes, the University of Oregon has really done a great job of starting their parent giving program through CampusESP. And what they're doing is relatively straightforward, but is having awesome results. So the first thing that they do is just ask parents. We talked about the hand raising on that registration process earlier. So they ask parents, would you be interested in supporting the University of Oregon? You can also, and I think they do, ask some more specific questions about specific areas that they might want to give to and things like that. And then based on those answers, they are able to target messaging to the people who are most likely to give based on, what school or college their child is enrolled in, and timing them with the big giving days that the whole community is really a part of. And it's been just amazing to see their results. So they just started, it's a year and a half ago now. So in their first year of really using it for the full year, they saw great results. So the next slide is covering some of those, which is I guess was their second year using CampusESP. They saw on the Ducks Give Day, which is their biggest like focused day of giving there, that parents and families donated over $33,000 from 308 different donors. And so that got them on the leaderboard across the university. They were, I think, in fourth place, which is really awesome. And that's like a 3x increase from the year before. So like the year before, it was like 100 donors and 10,000 gifts. So in gifts. So it's amazing to just see them grow this. And these are, not giant gifts. These are smaller annual gifts. So, but it really adds up. And I think giving is one of those things that everyone wants to, get into, but not everyone has, a team to do it. So that's one of the things I love to see CampusESP supporting the University of Oregon's team there to make this easier, more automated, and, just again, going back to that personalization, making it so that it's the families who are interested too, that are getting those asks, which makes sense.
I popped into the chat just a minute ago and I could see there's a whole bunch of ideas out there. But the biggest one is really just asking parents for what information they want to receive, whether it's in CampusESP registration form or if you do like some sort of survey that you push out there. Parents love completing surveys, a little bit different than their students. Maybe it's tough to get the students to complete a survey, but understanding what the parent interests are, the family interests, and whether or not they're interested in giving. Do that upfront, like year one, like as soon as their student shows up on campus. All right, we have a couple more minutes here. I wanted to kind of just throw this out here, which is join us for the 2026 CampusESP Summit. It feels like that is like a long time from now, but and it is, because 2025 is one of those years again. It feels like things are a little bit tougher. So Mel right now is, there we go. I just saw the survey come up there. So if you're interested in just being on the list as we have updates, it's likely going to be in Philadelphia in April timeframe again. But if you're interested in getting information when it comes out, that's all this is going to send you, which is just information when it comes out. Probably in the next month or so, I would say, right, Leslie?
Yeah, hopefully. We're really close to locking in a date in May, a different week though than last year, most likely. So that should help some folks. I also did want to address the question. I saw someone asked about a virtual option, and never say never. We have done virtual events before, obviously during COVID, and then even out of COVID, we still did 1 year of virtual. So you never know. But one resource I would point you to, anyone who, isn't able to travel for an event like the summit, is the CampusESP Academy. So this is a brand new program that we launched this year. The website is campusesp.com/academy. And that is monthly live sessions that some of them are training, but then others are these best practice sessions where we are really providing examples from our customers to help you get started and get ideas generated. So definitely make sure you're checking out that site and registering for those because those are happening monthly and we're adding more all the time. So
yeah. And I think things are happening so quickly in 2025. I mean, there's definitely like an assault on education, and then there is AI, which is just changing everything. I think those two pressures are really just top of mind for everybody. So we're going to have more and more content that we send out through the Academy to just make sure you're prepared and that you're able to send the right messages to your parents so that they can support their students. And Leslie, maybe you can just check the chat for like a couple questions or two as I wrap things up here. But if you are one of the folks that's on this and you're like, what is CampusESP again? Just as an ending point here, we do provide technology services to help you reach more family members. We do have a team of experts like Leslie, also like me, I would say, halfway through success. And our implementation generally can be down to 3 weeks. So if it's something that you want to roll out this year, that's really could be useful for incoming families. And then we also have access to what we call the CampusESP Content Network, which is recognizing that creating this content is not necessarily something that you will have time for. So we provide services to send the content into your platform automatically. There's AI, there's also approvals. You can also reject those too, but we want to make it easy for you. So we'll see if there's any questions that came through, but I wanted to say, as we're wrapping up here, thank you for spending 30 minutes with us. I think it's, tough to find any time. And we'll just see whether there's a couple final questions in the chat, and then we'll just wrap it up. Are we good, Leslie?
Yeah, I don't see any questions. Just one last good idea that Kirsten shared that was, I think, University of Maryland does this for parent giving, which is really cool, which is on their Family Weekend registration. There's a ticket option that's a donation to, support family engagement. So super easy way for doing Family Weekend registration to get some donors on that same form. We love it.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Leslie, and thank you for everybody joining us today. Now get back to work, and we'll see you soon.
Yes.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.